Hello everyone and welcome. Several years ago, Canonical dropped the Unity7 desktop environment primarily as a cost-saving measure prior to their initial public offering. Ubuntu Kinetic Kudu will be released soon, and along with it, Unity returns as a standard flavor. We'll take a look at the latest development build right after this. The Ubuntu Unity Remix team has been continuing development of Unity 7 for years, and have been providing beta testing images, starting with Ubuntu Kinetic, from the official cdimage.ubuntu.com site. I've already downloaded the latest daily build, so let's spin up a VM and check it out. Here we have the VM's BIOS boot menu, and I think I'll select option number 2 for the boot device to boot from the ISO image I just downloaded. So try or install Ubuntu Unity, that makes sense. Let's do it. So here's the BIOS boot up messages from the kernel. Got a little iBus notification warning or information message. We'll just ignore that for now. Won't affect us in any way. So let's fix the screen resolution by going to Settings, and let's select 1920 by 1080 and click Apply. We'll keep this configuration. Of course, that makes the fonts a bit too small for you guys, so I hope to fix that by going into Universal Access and enabling large text. There we go. All right. So now what we can do is launch the Ubiquity, standard Ubiquity Ubuntu installer for this Unity 7 Remix. So the English language works for me. Continue. The keyboard layout, English US, is correct. So what apps would you like to install to start with? Normal installation. And we'll download updates while installing Ubuntu Unity. And I always like to install third-party software for graphics and Wi-Fi hardware and additional media formats. Make sure we have the full installation. Installation type, erase disk and install Ubuntu Unity or something else. And you can recreate or resize partitions yourself, as it says, or choose multiple partitions for Ubuntu Unity. We're going to go with the standard default autoconfig, erase disk, and install Ubuntu Unity selection. And under advanced features, you can enable LVM, and then you have the option of encrypting your Ubuntu Unity installation for security. But we'll not do that today. We'll just have no advanced features. Notice ZFS is not available at this time. So, the proposed partition table is 2 partitions, the ESP boot partition and ext4 as the root partition, where home also lives. So we'll accept that, and we'll continue with the installation with the time zone. I'm in the Los Angeles time zone, US Pacific, that's correct. It's audit detected. My name, of course, is Stephen. I'll name my computer, my virtual machine in this case, Unity1. Username is Stephen, and I'll enter my password here and type it twice to make sure there are no typos. Require my password to log in. That's good and fair. So it's been starting the install in the background as I was setting up the user and the time zone, etc. So I'll skip over most of this via video editing. And we're ready to restart. It's installed. So restart now. I'll be hitting enter to unmount the CD-ROM. And there we go. Now let's select boot device number 1, which is my main hard disk for the virtual machine. It's a VirtIO device. It's QEMU. Very handy and performant hypervisor for the Linux kernel. There we go. Looks like we have the LightDM, I think. Display Manager looks like that to me. So you've got your networking enabled here. Your wireless networking should show up here if you have that. Calendar and the shutdown and reboot selections there. So let me log in. And there's that IBIS notification. Key map changes. We don't have to worry about that at this time. So that message will go away by itself. Let's do what we did before and fix the screen resolution. Over here, displays. So the virtual GPU is from Red Hat as a virtual driver. So we keep this configuration. Click apply, and then we'll fix the font size. That looks a lot better. All right, good. So this is the Compiz window manager. So, you know, you have OpenGL acceleration. So under all settings, you can select the appearance here, desktop background, wallpapers, theme, launcher icon size. So you can make it from 48 to 64 on the left side of your screen there. Again, all the activity happens in Unity on the left side. You can change that, of course, presumably. But yeah, good old Unity environment that I remember from my netbook days. Very good. So you can select different themes here, colors. You can go standard Yaru theme if you want from Ubuntu. So I think this is the introduction of the Yaru Ubuntu theme that you know and love from prior releases for the first time to the Unity desktop interface, if I interpret this correctly. Okay, here we have brightness and lock, so you can, let's turn off the screensaver since this is a demo VM. And we'll continue. Here's language support. So yeah, you can install additional language support, including more packages for the English language in my case. But yeah, here's where you can configure your language and your regional settings. Online accounts, you've got the usual suspects here from Google through Microsoft, IMAP and SMTP, or enterprise logins. Very good to have. For under security and privacy, security requirement password when waking from suspend, returning from blank screen, it's a good idea to turn on. Record file and application usage. I tend to disable this on my own installation. I'm not a fan of recording all my activity on this machine. It's not that I don't trust the Ubuntu Unity team, but Canonical, well, that's your choice. Search while searching the dash, include online search results. I'll leave that off. Under diagnostics, yeah, definitely for my own installations, turn off sending error reports to Canonical, or especially send occasional system information to Canonical. I haven't seen anything nefarious in what they send, but kind of rubs me the wrong way. I hope they should opt out, make it opt in and not opt out. So text entry, English is correct. Here's a Bluetooth configuration. We won't go into that. Monitor calibration. We've got a QEMU monitor, so we won't bother with calibration. But for a physical installation, that might be useful to you. Displays we've seen already. Here we can adjust the keyboard input that we've done already if we have a new keyboard. So mouse and touchpad, you can adjust double click speed and pointer speed, but you can't reverse the scroll connection or any of that fancy stuff in Unity, it seems. Probably under tweaks or something, presumably. So here you can configure your wired or wireless network. You can add a VPN if you add plus here, but I don't think, other than point-to-point protocol, I don't think you have any other VPN protocols, such as OpenVPN, available. I think you have to install that using Synaptic. Synaptic has a whole bunch of VPN protocols available to you, should you choose to do so. Under power, we'll turn off suspend when inactive, since this is a demo. as I said. Um, Here's your printer settings. So here you can add your network printer or connected printer as you usually would under Ubuntu. No changes there. Sound. So you can do some basic settings here, including allow it louder than 100% if you've got weak speakers or weak output for whatever reason. Input, you can configure your mics here or other sound sources. Sound effects, you can turn those off if you want. And no applications using sound at the moment. Okay, so pretty standard Ubuntu stuff here, nothing new. We don't have a Wacom tablet for me to show you today. So the details, so we're running Unity 7.6. As of today, that's the latest version of Unity. Here you can set the default applications. So Firefox, Thunderbird, LibreOffice, Rhythmbox, the usual suspects, so the defaults. Here you can set what to do with removable media, like if you insert a CD. Guess that's still a thing in the year 2022. Computer name, yes, I set that to Unity1 during the Ubiquity installation settings. Okay, let's go to all settings. So, software and updates, that's pretty much the standard canonical configuration item set here. Ubuntu software, other software, PPAs, etc. How to handle updates, when to check. All these things are configurable here on this tab. Authentication, trusted software providers, the keys. No additional drivers needed for this QEMU VM. And as a developer option, you can enable pre-released updates or the Kinetic proposed repo on this tab. So, time and date. Looks like the automatic NTP time settings is enabled. And under clock, you can switch from the US 12-hour time. Antiquated in my opinion. You can switch to the 24-hour time. The calendar settings and so on and so forth. Universal access, we already used. And the user accounts, very basic. I don't see any group configuration here or anything like that. It's just a very basic user add and removal section here. Here's the login history. Yeah, a little creepy. I guess as an administrator for somebody else's machine might come in handy as to when they logged in and used this machine, but that's a personal private use. I tend to turn these things off. As I said, let's take a look at the tweak tool here. So, as you see, the tweak icon shows up in the left launch bar in Unity. So, under Overview, Launcher, you can auto-hide this launcher, if you will. And you can minimize single window applications on click. You can change the transparency level. Here, I see it's not active. I think probably with the QEMU driver, a lot of things are not working in Unity because it is OpenGL based compositor. But anyway, here you can configure some of the launcher items. Search, can configure background blur, suggestions, etc., etc. You can also clear the history of your search terms. Under panel, you can select how long the menu will be visible, etc., etc. On the switcher, I remember on the switcher, workspace switcher, I used the cube and the window jelly move items under compiz. I haven't matured since then. So yeah, so that's the Unity main panel. So these are all the tabs there, so you can jump straight to those configuration items by clicking their respective icons. Okay, moving right along, here this workspace settings stuff. So I just leave it to one single workspace. You can adjust to how many workspaces you want. The window spread is configurable here. A lot of configuration items under the Unity Tweak tool. Window snapping is configured here in this tab, along with hot corners. Everything's disabled out of the box. That's okay. And additional stuff like, for example, the focus enabler behavior. So if you want to have focus follows mouse or focus follows click and then auto raise, you can set that there in the additional section. So some theming items here. So we looked at this already. Yaru, Ambiance. Ambiance, I think, is the see, that's Radiance. Ambiance, I think, is the classic Unity theme, I believe. Now, same thing with icons. You've got a whole bunch of icon themes you can select. So Yaru Purple Dark is the default. If you look closely at your left screen launch bar, you can see under the tweaks icon, you can see the different highlights for the icons. And also different styles, like Humanity. Remember Humanity from like 10 years ago? Ubuntu Mono. All kinds of selections here for the icon sets. So we'll go back to Purple Dark by clicking Restore Defaults. So cursor, got the standard Yaru cursor. I'll make use large cursors there if you want. Clicking that checkbox. Here you can configure the fonts. Pretty standard Ubuntu stuff. Anti-aliasing, text scaling. Interesting that text scaling is not matching my increased text size from the accessibility section. I'm used to seeing that. Oh well. So you can set the items to display for your desktop icons. So I guess the default is not to really show anything. For security, enhance system security by disabling the following items: desktop lock, printing, user logout, or user switching. Under scrollings, so you can set the scroll bar behavior and edge scrolling. Again, it's useful for notebooks and netbooks if you still happen to have one. Okay, so that was the whirlwind tour of the Tweak tool. Let's see what else we have here. Let's launch a terminal. Just type term in the search bar and select that icon. Let's make that full screen. And let's check the memory usage here. So free-h for human readable shows under 1 gig of RAM used and no swap. So the swap goes to swap file, which is in the root directory. You can enable ZRAM very easily by doing a Google search or whatever search engine you are, and disable swap file and use ZRAM instead. I recommend doing that. Very easy to do. So let's do a quick update check and see what we've got. So it pulls from the standard Ubuntu repos, Kinetic repos, because this is an official remix or flavor, as they call it. Let's check for updates here. Looks like everything's up to date. So let's install NeoFetch. And clear the screen and launch it. And as you can see, we're running Ubuntu Kinetic Kudu, which is a development branch, soon to be released, maybe in a week or two. I think in 2 weeks from today. Hopefully, if everything goes well. Recent kernel 5.19. Unity 7.6 and Compiz. And those are the themes we're using. Yeah, about 1 gig usage. Unity I expected to be a little bit lighter, but yeah, it is what it is. It's not as light as XFCE or Mate. I definitely encourage you to check that out. So, snap list. So snaps are enabled. Of course, this is an official Ubuntu. Very easy to if you'd like, uninstall Snap. There are instructions on the net for doing that. And if you like, also going with Flatpak. Won't do this here in this video, but it's very straightforward if you don't like Snap for whatever reason. So you've got the LibreOffice icon, launch icons here on the launch bar, pre-populated. So if I click home on the search bar, and let's see. So if I click on all applications, got recently used, installed, and dash plugins. And under installed, which is the middle section here, you can see just barely, I hope, you can see 66 more selections. So here are the folders. And here are the videos you have installed. So far we have not installed or have any videos on our VM. No music either. So that bottom tab section gives you shortcuts to your favorite documents, if you will. Let's go back to applications here. And the bottom here, the second choice highlighted. And let's see what we have here. So yeah, Unity installs a bunch of stuff. So let's see those 66 more results. As you can see, these are default apps, programs, graphical programs that are installed along with Unity7. As you can see, a whole big selection. The standard stuff that you get from a regular Ubuntu desktop install. So I just show this here so you can pause the video and browse to your heart's content. We won't be going through all these apps. I'll just bore you to death, and I would not like for that to happen. So, okay. So let's launch Firefox. See here. Let's go to the Ubuntu Unity team website under ubuntuunity.org. And here we go. Unity once again. Very nice. Unity7 ain't dead. I think I put this in. I'm thinking of putting this in this video title. Unity7 ain't dead. That's a good thing, I think. So you've got all the folks writing in how wonderful Unity is. It is. It's a great desktop environment for certain applications. So here's Rudra Saraswat. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name. But it's the official flavor is celebrated here in the blog post from September 29th. So it's been a couple weeks already since that has happened. So again, as you can see, it's available on cdimage.ubuntu.com. Ubuntu Unity releases. Very nice. So theme switcher on the top bar seems to work great. That's a new feature for this release, I guess for Kinetic 22.10. Let's see. Yeah, we've got that already. Progress of Unity7 development, Unity7 settings daemon and indicator packages. So they re-implemented some of the several older components of Unity7, I guess from legacy of 2017. Yes, okay. Let's go back home. So this remix comes with the old lovely Unity7 goodies like head-up display, global menu, etc., etc. And yeah, so you get to prior to Artful Aardvark. Unity7 is modified. We have ported Yaru to Unity7, like I mentioned earlier in this video, replacing the old ambiance theme, which was the default, etc., etc. So great updates here. I'm really liking this as a nice interface. Hopefully they can get the remaining bugs worked out as soon as possible. And we will be set for a wonderful release in a couple of weeks from now. I believe Ubuntu Unity continues to have a place on desktops with limited screen resolutions and RAM, as well as users who prefer its streamlined and efficient user interface. The team is based in India, and the lead developer is around 12 years old, so big congratulations on bringing this remix to Ubuntu's official selection. If you've made it this far, many thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, take care and have lots of fun.